Geoff Schwartz, Fox Sports analyst, 8 NFL seasons, brother of Mitchell Schwartz, great offensive lineman. Okay, you live in the Carolinas. It's Bryce Young. I think he was the best college quarterback. They're my shock team in the NFL. I think they're going to win their division. Nobody else does. What are you hearing? What do you expect?
I don't know why no one would pick them to win the division. If you look at the quarterback situation, it's second best in this division. And look at their roster, defensively really good, and they bring over a fantastic defensive coordinator. The offensive line has a lot of young pieces that are pretty good, and they have enough skill position to make it work. But it's up to Bryce Young staying healthy. All the things we knew about him in Alabama, great study habits, great pre-snap, great post-snap, all those things are true in Carolina. It's just a matter of health. It's can he stay healthy the first week of the season when a 330-pound defensive tackle falls on his shoulder? Is he going to stay healthy? That's my only concern with him. Otherwise, he's hitting every mark. I was told in the offseason program he was changing plays at line of scrimmage like a veteran already. He's doing all the things that he was in Alabama. We know those things are true. They showed all the time on his film. The question for me, Colin, is just health. Is if he stays healthy, I'm with you. I picked Carolina, I believe, to win the division as well, because I think they're the most talented team if Bryce Young can stay healthy all season long.
Yeah, no, I like him a lot. So Eric Bieniemy was in Kansas City for years, but I've said the question is always, and you see this in companies, you got Andy Reid, Brett Veach, Mahomes, you don't know how much is really him, right? You see this with companies. Executives will leave a great company, go out on their own, and they don't do anything. You see it in bands. A guy leaves a band, goes out on his own, nobody buys the records. So I look at Eric Bieniemy, he's at Washington, a story comes out this week. The players are like, whoa, he's too harsh, he's too intense. You have a little connection to Kansas City. Are you surprised by the story? What do you make of it?
I'm not surprised by the story because everyone who's played with Eric Bieniemy, and he was the running back coach when I was there for a year, my brother was there 5 years, he's an intense coach. He's an intense guy. He's a passionate football coach. The question is whether that translates to good offensive design, to good play calling, to getting the best from his players. There have been plenty of coaches in all walks of sports that are very intense individuals. Does that translate to being a teacher, right? So if he goes to Washington and the offense is good and Sam Howell plays good, it doesn't matter how intense he is. If the intensity takes away from being able to teach and being able to coach and get his players better, that's where you have the problem. Right now, we don't know because they haven't played any games yet, and it's really tough to judge him, in my opinion, with Sam Howell's quarterback, right? They're not giving him an opportunity, and obviously he knew what he was doing when he signed there, but Sam Howell is the fourth worst quarterback in the division, right? He's worst in the division. Like, what are they going to do with Sam Howell that makes you feel great about the offense? So to me, it's not about the intensity or whether or not that intensity is hurting his ability to coach up his players and get him in the right position to be successful on Sundays. All right, so
the Jets had a practice against Carolina. This was probably pretty big news where you live, and it was choppy.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have their tackles settled. I mean, you know this from your brother. When the Chiefs went to a Super Bowl, Mahomes got, unraveled, and Mahomes doesn't get unraveled if you don't have your tackles right. Older quarterback. Aaron doesn't want to run anymore. His numbers have gone down, running attempts, running yards. I think it's the season. You tell me, have you ever entered a season in your 8 years when you're unsettled, unsure, especially at tackle, and then 7 weeks in, you're like, we got the Cowboys 5 years ago, O-line?
Not often. It happens sometimes with younger offensive lines, right? You grow into the position, but that's not really what the Jets are at right now, right? Dwayne Brown's out, hasn't practiced so far. Mekhi Becton's over at left tackle. He's struggling. He really should be the right tackle, and both right tackles in competition are struggling, and they're talking about moving their best player, Elijah Vera Tucker, who only played 7 games last year, back out to tackle. Then you have to fill in another guy. I mean, you're playing these musical chairs like you don't want to do that. You don't want to have to move your best offensive lineman to fill a hole somewhere else because now, ideally, you have 2 positions of weakness, right? Mekhi Becton's not going to play left tackle unless Dwayne Brown's out, and if Dwayne Brown comes back, then Mekhi has had no reps at right tackle. They're just kind of in a bad shape right now with this offensive line shuffle, and there's less practice time now, right? There's less opportunity to work through some of these issues that you had an opportunity to do many, many years ago. Now, guys have adapted to that, obviously, and they've changed the way that they're able to prepare, and they do a lot more in the offseason, but it'd be concern basically 3 weeks from being finalized that your left tackle's out. You're talking about moving your best offensive lineman. Your backup left tackle hasn't been good. Who's supposed to play right tackle for you? Your right tackles haven't been great. Like, it's not good. It's not a good operation when you have all these moving parts 3 weeks before the season. So I don't know how they settle in. But Dwayne Brown coming back would certainly make things a lot better, because then you would leave Elijah Vera-Tucker at guard. You have 3 options at right tackle. You have Dwayne Brown, who's as steady as they come, settle in at that position. So his health, I think, will determine how this offensive line turns out.
One more NFL question. I believe because starters are playing less in the preseason and we have 1 fewer preseason game, that practices mean more. That you don't get a lot of 1-versus-1s, and Dak had a practice this week with 3 picks, 2 of them awful, and I'm like, it's something. He led the league last year and missed 4 starts. Zeke's gone. O-line's Zach Martin's holding out. Bringing in, now Mike McCarthy's the play caller. I know it's a hot take, but I think it's something, isn't it?
It's probably something, but I will remind everyone that in 2018, there was a headline about 2 weeks into training camp that Patrick Mahomes has thrown too many interceptions. He threw 6 or 7 in one day, and obviously he won the MVP that year and threw 50 touchdowns. So obviously I'm not comparing, I think, Mahomes and Dak Prescott, but in training camp, you are working through a couple of things, right? You're trying to work on certain things. So there's times I've seen some of the interceptions where, the play's sort of dead. He's just kind of heaving it up there, and maybe not the best decision he will not make in actual game, because he'll be on the ground, which is also a concern for the Cowboys without Zach Martin. If you watch all these clips, they're going to miss Zach Martin if he doesn't play. But I think it's not nothing, right? It's not nothing. Like, he shouldn't be throwing as many as he does, but some of these are just sort of late in the down. That one's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So some of them are bad, but I'm not as concerned about it as I think most are. But the Zach Martin thing is real. Jerry Jones, you need to pay Zach Martin, man. You need to get he's a Hall of Fame offensive lineman in the prime of his career. Give him a few more dollars. Like, get it done.
Listen to that. Listen to the offensive line guy. He's stumping for Zach Martin. Finally, you're a Pac-12 guy, Oregon Duck guy. I have said, I thought the conference died about 5 years ago outside of 3 or 4 programs. And the bottom line is, if the Big Ten's offering you $70 million a year, the SEC's offering you $70 million, and the Pac-12 gives you $25, $30, I'm an athletic director. Football pays for everything. If I can get 3 times the money, I'm going to the Big Ten. I'm excited for the matchups. Are you bothered as a former player? How does it land for you?
Well, so I grew up a UCLA fan and from Los Angeles. I went to Oregon, and I love the regionality of college football, right? Regionally, I've loved the Pac-12 conference, and they've certainly made a lot of mistakes. They're very much at fault for what's happening. But nationally, you are correct. The matchups are incredible, right? You might have a weekend when you have Penn State and Oregon play and Michigan and USC play, and the nightcap is Alabama, Texas, like in a conference game. Right. Like, you're going to have much better games, but the regionality of the sport is gone. And I don't blame Oregon at all for leaving, right? This is a play for the future. You're getting half a share now, but a full share in 2030. And the linear TV deal is part of this as well. You want to be on Fox, you want to be on ESPN, you want to be on NBC, CBS. So I don't fault any team for having to move. I'm sad it got here, but this has been a 12-year process, right? Not getting Texas, Oklahoma, the Pac-12 network deal fiasco, not putting Pac-12 network on certain TV providers, not selling Pac-12 network. A lot of it comes to the Pac-12 network, like not expanding 2 years ago. So it's been a long process, and it's been drawn out. It's been a year now for Oregon and Washington to figure this out. I haven't loved it. It's weird to see the Big Ten Network put out a tweet saying, like, hey, look at Oregon's uniforms from last season. They'll be in the Big Ten next season. And the worst part, Colin, about all of this, and you know this as well, this is the best the Pac-12 might ever be in a season. They have incredible teams this year with amazing quarterbacks. They're going to the NFL, and we're talking about what conference they're going to play in 2 years.
Yeah. Geoff Schwartz. Good seeing you, buddy. He's got a little Oregon green shade, a little more Tulane than Oregon, but a little green there. Good seeing you, my man.
I got the helmet. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Very, very nice. Geoff Schwartz. Yeah, I always said this. In my business, regionality is not good for syndicated radio. Baseball's regional. Nobody in San Diego cares about the Twins. Nobody in Cleveland cares about the A's. In the NFL, people in Cleveland will watch the Eagles and the Chargers, right? And the Texans. That's just the reality of the NFL. The NFL is not regional. So regionality is bad, and college football has become incredibly parochial and regional. And I think now it becomes less so because you have all these West Coast brands going into this massive Midwest conference. And so the Midwest will watch the West will watch the Midwest, the South will watch all of it. And I can't wait. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.